at Fort Vancouver, where we are utilizing the lovely Grant House as our backdrop, built in 1849 with hand-hewn logs. Some are actually still visible today. The architecture of the building, with its wraparound double veranda, is reminiscent of a southern plantation home. It's a restaurant right now, and as you can see, some folks enjoying a nice day here in Vancouver. So glad you're with us on Comcast Newsmakers. In our current economic times, many families are utilizing shelters for the very first time. For more on this, we turn to Diane McWithey, who's the Executive Director of SHARE. Diane, thank you very much for being here.
Hi, thank you.
Before we talk about some of the new influx of families utilizing these shelters, tell me a little bit about SHARE.
Well, SHARE is a nonprofit here in Vancouver that does a whole continuum of services for the hungry and homeless. We have street outreach, we operate 4 shelters, we have a hunger response program that includes feeding children through a summer lunch program and a backpack program, and then we also have transitional and permanent housing.
Now, a lot of people may not realize that there are actually shelters for men. Tell me about the need for a men's shelter.
Well, in Vancouver, we operate the only shelter for men. It's called SHARE House, and we shelter 30 men a night, and they just don't have any other services offered to them in Vancouver. They'd have to go to Portland for services, so it's a great community asset.
It's tough out there. Many of us there's a probability we may see our neighbor having to use a program that you offered. Talk about the tough times and what you're seeing.
We're definitely seeing that. You know, the high unemployment rates. At one point in time, Clark County, I don't know what the current situation is, but Clark County had the highest unemployment rate in the state of Washington. And so my case managers would definitely see people that could be their neighbor or their best friend across the table from them as they were trying to do an intake. And it's stressful for the client that has never accessed services before. They're frustrated, they're angry, they're humiliated, they're ashamed, and then the case manager has to deal with all of those emotions, so it puts a little bit burden on everyone.
You mentioned ashamed. I can understand that. I can also understand frightened. A family
Definitely.
using a shelter for the first time. What do you see in that family, and how do you transition them into it's okay?
Yeah, well, all of the shelters in Vancouver that shelter the families are community living. So the family is put in one room, which serves as the whole family's bedroom. So they have no privacy. They share a kitchen, they share the TV room, they share the playroom for the children. And for someone who's never done that kind of living before, it's worse than going to college. You know, I mean, they really have to deal with their own situation and then the situations of all the people around them as well. And it makes for good friendships once they get past the initial shock of that kind of community living.
Now, even in these economic times, SHARE has purchased a new building off of Andreessen, is that right? Tell me about this building.
We have. It's going to be our SHARE Service Center. SHARE, I've been with SHARE for 21 years, and we started out as just one little shelter and a hot meal program, and now we have all of these services. What we didn't do as we were growing to meet the need in the communities was grow to meet our facility needs as well. And so I have staff that are doubled up in offices, and we have a lack of space for our backpack program. Our backpack program started by giving 75 food backpacks to 3 different schools throughout the school year, and now we're going to be in September serving 38 schools in 6 different school districts and providing 900 backpacks every week. I don't have the storage space for that kind of food. It's 9,000 pounds of food going out just about every week between the meal program and that. So we needed space. We bought an old bowling alley.
You bought an old bowling alley.
We did.
Between that program and the hot meal program, tell me a little bit about the hot meal program, first of all.
We offer the only hot meal program in Vancouver that's 365 days a year. A person can get breakfast, lunch, or dinner Monday through Friday, and breakfast or dinner on the weekends. It's all done with community volunteers. We have 1 paid staff person. We put out about 110 to 115,000 meals a year.
Well, I know SHARE is doing an incredible job within the community, and Diane McWithey, thank you very much for joining us on Comcast Newsmakers. I understand behind me the restaurant here is actually incredible food, so if you have time,
have some lunch.
We'll have some lunch. Thanks so much for joining us on Comcast Newsmakers. For the crew and everybody here, we're so glad you joined us. I'm Ken Ackerman. Make it a great day.